12th century Renaissance was there. It was the time when a lot of medieval classics, medieval romances were
Okay, hey people, hi, good afternoon. So
Good
it's
afternoon.
yes, good afternoon. All right, so it's three, and I think we should start our session. Mm. So before we begin, I would just like to introduce myself first. Okay, so my name is Swapnil Chaudhary, and I am from Pune. Yes, hi, good afternoon. I believe it is Sonali. There's some problem with my with my chat over here. Um, so I'm actually not able to read the names properly. People, yes, good afternoon. And a bit of my introduction, and then we will start the session. Right. So my name is Swapnil Chaudhary. I'm from Pune. Right. So I'm sitting in Pune, my home over here in Mundwa area in Pune. Right. It's near towards the new passport office. Right. And now I'm working with Henry Harvin and two other organizations. I work with Henry Harvin and the other organizations as a freelance trainer. Okay? I'm a freelancer, and I took this freelancing opportunity ever since the pandemic struck. Okay, so since the pandemic, when everything got online, I tried this and I liked the idea of working online from the comfort of home. Although sometimes it is not that enjoying experience. Okay? But yes, overall this is going good. And I teach the TEFL course with Hindi Harvin. And plus I work as an IELTS trainer. I train students on IELTS exam preparation. And so some of you might know it as IELTS or IELTS. Okay? So that is the another course that I train people with. Okay? And then there is a third organization that actually fetches some opportunities for me, where I go to these engineering and management colleges in and around Pune city, and I train the final year students with this training program that is called as From Campus to Corporate. Right, so I help these students to acquire the knowledge, the essential knowledge and skills that they need when they will land in their very first job of their life. Okay? So I conduct that training as well from campus to corporate. Right. So that's my job profile, and so far it's going good. Okay? And my journey with Hindi Harvin is, I can say, we are together for at least 2 years, right? And so far it's going really good, right? Now coming back to the topic, you can see this is a postgraduate TFL 100% job guarantee program. In Now, to begin with, I just would like to mention that Henry Harvin, as a company, they have their like individual placement service providing department. Okay? So they can tell you more about how the job guarantee program works, or maybe how long is going to be the validity, or in which countries they can provide you with a job, right? So they can tell you more about that. Okay, they have a placement, like there is a department that looks only after the job placements. Okay. So as of now, we are going to focus on what we are going to learn in the TEFL course, the academic part of this course, right? And if you are interested to know more how the job guarantee works, so you need to contact the person who has invited you for this meeting, and that person is, the right person to inform you about that. I mean, I can definitely tell you something, but then I am not the best person to speak on that matter. So let's jump into what is it, what is this course exactly about? What can we learn, and what different opportunities are there? And like overall, we can understand it's teaching English as foreign language, but then what does it exactly mean? There has to be some explanation on that as well. Okay, so we will go through all that. So the first thing is TEFL, that you can see teaching English as foreign language. Okay, that is the TEFL stands for. And then there is another course that is called as TESOL. TESOL. Okay, that is TESOL. And TESOL, it means teaching English to speakers of other language. Teaching English to speakers speakers of other languages. Right? So that is TESOL. So the main difference is the awarding bodies. Okay. So the TEFL certification program is awarded by American Association of Teachers. Right. And as you can see, Henry Harvin is a company that originated in the US. Right. So Henry Harvin is an American multinational in education, like in the ed tech. And no, so the certificate that you get over here is going to be named as TEFL. However, TESOL, that's another course or maybe another name for the same course that is coming from the Board of Canada. Okay? The Board of Canada is providing that TESOL course or the TESOL certification. As you can see, the goal after this certification program is exactly the same. So the course contents are, very much the same, more or less paraphrased. Okay, the same topics paraphrased in different ways. Okay, so just like here in India, so many of the universities they provide education in engineering. They all teach engineering, but their books are designed differently. The information is paraphrased in different ways, right? So that's all the difference there is. And in the job opportunities, I'm sure you must have come across any job opportunities. So you have seen that this TEFL/TESOL, okay, they want any certificate would work, right? Okay, people. So that's a bit of clarification about the title that this course has. Now we will study what are the different parts of the course, what are the job opportunities after this course, and what is it that you will exactly learn? What do we exactly mean by teaching English as a foreign language? Okay, we will study all of that. And I believe it's going to be approximately 30 to 35 minutes of my presentation. And then I will be taking your questions. Okay, so if you have any questions in the meanwhile, just please write them down on a paper, and then I will be happy to answer your questions after this presentation, right? Now you can see the first slide that we have. This is the introduction to the TEFL course. And this TEFL course, it comes into three parts. Okay? So the very first part that we have is going to be about the solid foundation, about the teaching skills or the teaching profession. So that means there are many teachers who are mainly teaching science and maths. Like one of my students who is now in Vietnam, right? So he is there in Vietnam, and initially he was teaching science and maths, but as he observed that in Vietnam, English language teachers are paid very well. I mean, there's quite a handsome salary. So he got interested, and then he came back to India. He pursued this course, from Henry Harvin TEFL course. I was his trainer, and now this person is back in Vietnam. Right. So there are teachers who are coming from different fields. Maybe they don't have any experience of teaching English, or there are people who have completed their education, but then they want to make a switch. Right? So for those people who have no experience about the teaching industry at all, so for them, this first part of the course is very important. Okay, here you will study all the background building information, all the necessary information about the teaching. We will study what are the native English speaking countries. We will study what is what is the difference between first language, second language, mother tongue, okay? And then we will study about young learners. We are going to study young learners on 4 parameters, right? How do young people think? What is their social, emotional, their cognitive, and their linguistic understanding? Okay. We will study what is a learner. We will study what is the difference between a learner and a student. What are the different learning styles? What are the different teaching methods? What is the learning cycle? What are the stages of teaching? Right. So quite a lot of information over here in the very first part of the course, which will prepare you to step inside this profession. Of course, I can teach you how to teach grammar, and then I can give you the book, and okay, that is the classroom, go and teach. Okay, but even if you know the content very well, but because you are not aware about the profession, the students' expectations, the students' needs. If you're not aware about that, then teaching would be a very difficult job. For that reason, this first part is really important, in which we will study about the basic background building information towards this course. Okay? Then we have the second part of the course. In the second part, we will study the main skills that we require or that we need to teach English. Okay. So when we are there in the classroom as an English language teacher, we would be teaching 7 different styles of, like 7 different topics. Okay? So the 4 topics are quite obvious, like 4 essential language skills, that is LSRW, listening, speaking, reading, writing, right? So these 4 things are there. Besides that, we teach them about grammar, we teach them vocabulary, and we teach them about voice and accent or pronunciation, right? So these are the 7 aspects of English language, and this course will prepare you to work effectively, or to be able to teach these 7 aspects, all 7 aspects, very effectively. Okay, so we will work on that. So these are the core skills, okay, that you will learn in part 2, which will really be helpful for you. Okay, like this is exactly the content that you will be delivering. And then in the third part over here, we see this is a specialized program for techniques to teach EFL. Okay? So that means over here, we will study what is lesson planning, how to plan a lesson, what are the different steps, stages, what do you know, what are the requirements of the lesson plan. Okay? And then we will study what is classroom management. Classroom management is of a highest concern for the new teachers. Okay? As we all know, at some point in our life, we were also a student. We also went to school for studies. And if you recall your experience, sometimes on one particular day, there was a teacher who entered the class to teach you, and you dislike that teacher because you immediately understand this teacher, this is new. This is just a person, not exactly a teacher, has no experience of teaching. Okay. So in that case, when students learn that there is a new teacher without any experience of teaching, very fresher, students feel that, okay, our school is experimenting on us with this teacher, right? So in that case, I mean, sometime we have to be the first, we have to teach for the first time, right? It's going to be our first year sometime into the teaching, right? So with the help of the classroom management techniques, principles that we will see in this course, in the third part, we will be an effective teacher. Okay? So maybe you can be, let's say, you must have won an award in explaining things very well. Maybe you have received a presidential medal as a teacher. Okay, good. But then still, if you don't know how to manage your classroom environment, even with that presidential medal, your classroom management will go for toss, and students, it's very likely that they would not learn. You would not be an effective English language teacher in the classroom. Right, so we are going to study these 3 parts. The first part is the basic background building information, and then the core skills, and then lesson planning and the classroom management tools. So over here in classroom management, we will study how to teach offline and online both. What are the like the classroom management techniques to teach online and offline both. Okay. Now you can see the benefits of this course. It prepares the aspiring teachers to be able to connect to actual classroom teaching. Okay, so this is very important. So this course is going to be an online course. Okay. So there are benefits of this being an online course. Okay, I believe the very first benefit is that the cost is comparatively low. Second thing is that you avoid the hassle of traveling, okay, back and forth. So quite beneficial working online. However, although this is an online course, we assure you that you will be ready to prepare, like you will be ready to teach in the classroom setup as well. And because the entire course is focused where, on the specific idea that you should be able to step inside the class and teach effectively. Then you will be able to work with all levels, right, and all age groups, right? That means this course will equip you with knowledge and skills, okay, that you need, that you require to work different stages, okay, to work with the students at different levels. So there can be a student who is maybe just a very, very beginner. There can be a student who is just elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced, right? So there are 6 levels. You choose what level you want to work with. If you think that working with elementary is not for me, they can speak a little bit, but then still too difficult because they have not enough exposure. I want to work with students who are actually able to speak English quite well. In that case, you can choose to work with intermediate level students, right? And then you can also choose the age groups, okay? If you feel that working with kids is not for me, okay, you can work with adults, okay? So this course will equip you with the knowledge, the skills, okay, that you require to work with all levels and all age groups, and you choose where you want to work, what age group you want to work. There are teachers who just want to work with young kids who are all beginners. So teaching them very simple things, alphabet, shapes, color, and teaching them how to produce different sounds. Right? Some teachers are happy doing that, working in a kindergarten. So it's up to you. If you want, you can work in a kindergarten, or if you want, you can start your own academy. If you want, you can just work with adult learners, or you can be a business English teacher. A lot of options are there. And then as you see, classroom management techniques, okay, that will be taught in order to manage your students effectively. And then over here, you can see we are going to give you an overview about grammar and phonology. Okay, so there are students who join this course with an expectation that we will be learning, or we will be teaching you grammar. Now, we will give you an overview about grammar and phonology, and we will teach you how to teach grammar effectively, how to teach phonology, how to teach pronunciation effectively. Especially for grammar, we teach, when I teach this course, I teach grammar for one session, like full 3 hours. But for phonology, I need 2 sessions. Okay, I teach phonology for 6 hours. Okay, so a lot of information there in terms like how you can deliver this knowledge to your students. Right, a lot of things to study there. And then the last benefit you can see, it opens a whole new world of opportunities. You can become a teacher, coach, trainer, mentor. You choose what you want to do. Okay? Now, going ahead, let's quickly discuss about what are the possible job roles that can be offered after completion of this certification. Okay, so these are the possible job roles, and let's go counterclockwise. Okay? So the very first role that you can see over here as EFL teacher, so English as foreign language teacher, right? So for India, like for Indian students, English is not a foreign language, it's our second language. For a lot of our students, English is their first academic language. There is a significant difference between English as a first academic language, or second academic language, and English as a foreign language. So let's consider the case of students in China, or maybe South Korea, Japan. For them, English is an extremely foreign language, right? They have no exposure to the language around them. For us, if we buy any products, all the information that is printed on that product, even if you buy a packet of chips, the information printed on that is going to be in English. So in India, we have a lot of exposure with English language, but for foreign students, no exposure at all. So it is only inside the English language classroom that they can learn English. There is exposure to the language, or they have to speak in English. Other than that, once they step outside the class, they have no need. Okay, so working with that level, or working with students with that background is absolutely a different job, right? So that's one thing that you can do. You can work as an EFL teacher, and if you can teach English to students in China, that's what we are going to prepare you for. I'm not saying exactly for the Chinese audience, but working with all the students for whom English is a foreign language. So there can be people coming from Brazil, or maybe people coming from Mexico, in the Middle East, Eastern European countries, post-Soviet countries, anywhere. So you will be working as an English language teacher, as EFL teacher, right? And if you can teach that level students, so you definitely will be able to teach Indian students. Okay, if you if you can run, or if you count 1 to 100, now if I ask you now count 1 to 40, you will be able to do that, right? Okay, so that's how it is. Now the next one is, after maybe a couple of years in this profession, you will be, like, you can work as a teacher trainer, so you can train the new teachers, right? That's another job profile. And then this is something that I do, freelance teacher. I have some of my individual students, because I work with Harvin and other companies, and when they pay, they already deduct the TDS. Okay, so my salary, I receive the salary after the 10% of the deduction in the tax. So uh, it's going good, right? So freelance teacher, you can work like that, or you can work as a translator. So translator is another job. Okay, I have done it only once, but you can do this. There are a lot of translation projects which are available for freelancers, right? So once you have this TEFL certification completed, you qualify to work as a translator as well. Okay? And then there is a job of process consultant. So we know for sure. I'm very sure that like we people are aware about these consultancies that are sending students outside India, right? Like a lot of students or a lot of people in general, they are inspired to move to Canada or to the US, to the UK, Australia. So you have to clear that language proficiency exam, IELTS, IELTS. So these consultancies, which help the people to apply for their visa or get their visa approved, these consultancies, they are providing language training as well, right? So you can work with these process consultants. They will be giving you job as an IELTS traders, IELTS traders, right? Or if you want, you can maybe start your own consultancy. Of course, for that you need some, investment and knowledge about the process, or how the different things work, or how, from where you can get the license. Some things are there, but then if you can start working like that, that will be a beneficial job as well. Okay, so you can work as a process consultant, or you can go and work with a consultant as an IELTS trainer. And then you have academic coordinator, and then ELT admin, English language teaching administrator, or academic coordinator. So these two are the profiles in the management or in the administration. And then the next one is that summer camp trainer. This is another good job, right? So if you are going to, if you have planned to go in the northern hemisphere, right, anywhere in the Europe, or maybe Canada, or maybe towards Russian side, so you need to understand that over there in the northern hemisphere, the summer is very short. Okay, they have only 2 months of summer, and the maximum temperature that they experience is hardly 22, 25, but they're happy with that, and they don't want to sit inside the classroom then. Okay, when the summer is there, after 8 months or 10 months of cold winter, when finally the summer is there, they want to go out. So we conduct sessions like English outside, or there are summer camp where you can go and work during the holidays, or during the summer vacations. Okay? So I have worked in St. Petersburg, okay, in Russia. So I was there for 2 years, and in both the years I experienced that students, they do not want to come inside the classroom and learn anything. They just want to enjoy the summer. Right? So for 2 months, okay, in the month of July and August, their schools almost shut down. Okay, they, like, very few schools are operating in these 2 months, because most of the students, they want to stay outside. So instead of conducting the sessions inside the class, the school conducts these sessions outside. So that is like they arrange, let's say, 3-day trip, or it can be a 1-day trip around the city, and you just be with the students and explain, ask them questions. They try to explain you in English, and you correct their English, right? Going that, And you can also work with young kids where they take you out of the city for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And my job in St. Petersburg, when I worked as a summer camp trainer, my job was just to be with the kids, right? And these were kids, I believe, like from 8 to 14 of age. So I was working with that age group, and I had no idea about their first language, and they had no idea about my first language. So English was the lingua franca that we have, and to communicate with me, students had no other option than to speak in English. Okay, and uh, this is what the schools want. Okay, the moment, like, as long as the students are speaking in English, that is gold. That's what they want. Okay? So you can work as a summer camp trainer as well. And other than that, you can work as a business English teacher, right? So this is another profile that I did, and over here, you can go and work with the corporate groups, okay, with the companies, and you can teach them with business English. Now, teaching business English is quite a different job than teaching general English. And then the last profile of director of studies. So this is, maybe we can get this profile after, I don't know, like 15 years of experience. Okay. But we all know what does that mean, director of studies. Okay. So these are the possible job profiles. And the next slide that we have. Okay, so these are the countries where job opportunities are there in plenty. However, I assure you, these are not the only countries where Indian English language teachers are accepted. Okay? Like, these countries are there where most likely, like, most job opportunities are there. On the other hand, one of my students, she is in Argentina, right? It's somewhere here, and she's working with Bruno's Air, right? That is the school over there, and she's working with young kids. Okay? So she completed her TEFL course last year, and then her husband got an opportunity to work in Argentina. So she moved with her husband, and she wanted to do a job, do something over there. And she took this course, and now she's working over there as an English language teacher. Plus, one of my students is in Qatar, okay, and she's working over there as an English language teacher. I mentioned one of my students is in Vietnam, okay, doing very well. And one of my students was initially in Thailand, and now she's in South Korea. Okay. So Thailand, yes, Thailand is mentioned, but Vietnam and Qatar and Argentina, these countries are not mentioned. Plus, a lot of countries over here in the Eastern European region. And I personally, know an Indian citizen who is living in Russia, okay? And he's got married to a Russian girl. So together, this couple, they run an English language teaching school in Russia. Okay, so they live in Siberia. Okay, so maybe somewhere there, roughly in that region, right? So job opportunities are plenty. Okay, and we will discuss more about that. Let's just quickly go through the course structure. So this PG diploma course, it comes into 4 parts. The very first part is 120 hours of TEFL course. So this is the basic course in which we will study how to teach English language to foreign students. And then we will move to the next part of the course. Over here, this is about teaching business English. Okay, so there is another, like, separate course which will help you to understand how to teach business English. And then there is another course where you will learn how to teach young learners, okay, how to work with young learners, right? That's a separate course. And then the last course that you get is about train the trainer. So TTT, train the trainer, kind of a course that we have over here. Okay, that is the last part of the course. Okay, people, I would really like to request you, can you please mark your attendance? Okay, there is a link that is shared with you in the attendance portal. Please mark your attendance. And yes, I can see some of you have asked the question. So please just wait for maybe 15 minutes and I will answer every question. Okay. So these are the 4 courses which are there. And let's just take a simple overview about the course. Okay. Now over here, I mean, what will you exactly learn for those people who are new to the teaching profession? What is it that you will exactly learn in this course? Okay? So, there are some slides that I will walk you through and understand. Like I'll just try to give you the gist of it. Okay, so the very first day you can see how to teach grammar with fun, right? And why is grammar important? Is grammar only about errors and correctness? Okay, so you can ask these questions to your students to get them thinking, right? And then these are the 6 activities. However, due to time constraint, I would not be able to go through every activity, but we can just maybe discuss about the very first activity over here. Or maybe we can discuss about the second activity, make funny examples and practice sentences. So let's consider that you have taught them a particular topic in grammar, and you want your students to practice that, that information that they have learned. Of course, you can give them some tasks like, okay, turn back your pages and see what you have done that. Okay, maybe they have learned, let's say, past continuous. And then you can ask them, okay, take some sentences from past continuous. And now, today you study the future continuous. So write future continuous. So transform the sentences from past continuous to future continuous. That's one way to go for it. But that is a very traditional way, right? And that is necessary. I'm not saying that is because it is traditional or it's old method, so it's not useful. It is still useful, but then you should try to help your students to have fun with the language. Right? That is encouraging them to write a story. What you can do, let's say you have 30 students in your class, so you put 3 students in a group. Right? So there is a small group of 3 students, right? And now you have 10 groups of your students. And as a teacher, you start the story. Maybe you write 1 or 2 sentences of the story, right? And then your students, they have to come and they have to write the next part of the story. So each of the group, they would get only 1 minute to decide what they're going to write. Okay. And, like out of these 3, any one of them would come and write the next sentence on the whiteboard, right? So that's the activity. Now, I'm not telling what are my story or what's my story or what are my characters about, etc. I'm just writing the story and I give away the marker. Okay, you come and write the next sentence. Okay, and you can just quite simply tell them, don't forget to have fun with this activity. Okay, something like that. And then your students, when they come, now they have to work very spontaneously, right? The story has to be connected, right? The second sentence should be connected with the first one. Third sentence should be, should convey the information that it receives in second sentence, right? It all has to be connected. It should not be that in the first 2, 3 sentences, they're talking about a jungle and monkey. And then in the 4th sentence, they're talking about a car in a big city. Makes no sense, right? It has to be relevant. So in that case, students, they need to think spontaneously, right? How these characters did something, and now they are going to write the effect, or they are going to write the result. And then the next group, they are going to write the the effects of this result, whatever happened, what that resulted into. Right? So it's a spontaneous activity, and they are planning, they are they are reading, and overall the story has to make some sense. Okay, it should look like a story, right? And as a teacher, you decide which sentence is valid and which sentence is invalid. So if they are writing incorrect grammar, it's invalid. So you just tell them you have to write with the correct grammar that you studied today, and do not use profanity or bad words. That's it, only 2 rules. And then they come, they're going to add 1 more sentence in the story, and they have to be spontaneous. Like the next group, they are very curious about what the previous group is writing on the board, and then they get 1 minute to discuss, and then they run to the board, write the next sentence, right? So this way we can complete the story. This activity might take some time, let's say 10 minutes, but at the end of the 10 minutes, now the story is there, right? And you read the entire story together, and your students are very curious to see what contribution they have made to the story, right? What difference their sentence is making in the story. right? Or how, how because of their sentence, the story is funny, right? So they enjoy, they take pride in that. So that's one way to help your students to practice with the language. Now think of it, what's happening for last 10 minutes. Students are thoroughly engaged with the target language only. They're not discussing about what's moving outside the classroom or what they can see from the window. No. The second thing is they're engaged with the language, and maybe as a teacher, you tell them, you need to see if other students, if other groups are writing this sentence in the correct grammar. I just make them that kind of a rule. So now they are invigilator. Now they are playing the role of invigilator. They're very curious. Okay, there's teacher, there is a mistake, right? They can just immediately say invalid sentence, teacher, invalid sentence. There is a mistake. No, 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 no. It's something like that. So they are on their toes. Okay, they're very cautious. They're very aware to write the correct sentences, and they're checking if anyone else is making mistake. It's good, right? Although it's a fun activity, but look at the achievement. Our students are thoroughly engaged and are continuously actively thinking about the target language that we have just taught them, right? So that's one way, that's a way to teach grammar. Like that is one activity. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you join the course, there are many more other activities like that where you can add fun to your grammar teaching lessons. Okay? So if you want, you can take a screenshot of this. Okay, so that's these are kind of the techniques that you will learn in the course about how to teach grammar effectively, with fun, with fun. And as a teacher, we also enjoy it if the activities are fun. Okay? Because of the time constraint, I cannot really go through every other point. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, tips for pronunciation. Okay, so something about the pronunciation or what you will learn in pronunciation. Okay, now these 11 points that you see over here, this is not, I can say, not even 5% of the actual course or the actual training content in the course. Okay, so in the course, you will have like a lot more things to study. But over here, you can see these are the 11 points. And I'm just going to focus teaching only one. Okay. So maybe point number 9. Pay attention to intonation and stress. A lot of Indian people, we speak in that we speak in that very typical Indian accent, which people in foreign countries, they don't appreciate that. They know for sure that Indian people are very good in computers and very good in English. Okay, however, they don't like that accent that we have. Okay? So whenever you want to speak with a foreign person, you need to make sure that you do not speak exactly in the way that I am speaking with you right now. Okay, so pay attention to intonation and stress. Why? You need to be aware. That's the key. Because English is a language that is, we can say, monosyllabic, right? So English, in the language or in the words, only one syllable is stressed. And then the rest of the syllables, they are not stressed. On the other hand, in Indian languages, for our languages, every single syllable is stressed equally. मैं खाना खाने जा रहा हूँ. मैं खाना खाने जा रहा हूँ. यार तू चल रहा है. Right? That's how we speak. Equal stress on every word and every part of the word. And we try to speak English exactly with that intonation. And that is how when we start to sound like this. And this is exactly what people find funny about us. They do not like this accent. Right? So try not to put equal stress on English word. Try to put stress only where there is the stress. Okay, where the native speakers put stress. Right? So intonation. So in this word, the stress is on ne, intonation. It's not intonation, right? Intonation. So, when you pay attention to your intonation and stress, you definitely would be able to sound neutral, like you would have a neutral accent. Or if you want, you can learn American or British accent as well. However, in this course, we try to teach a neutral accent and how to teach neutral accent to your students. Okay, that is where our focus is. And like there are 11 total things, but because of the time constraint, we cannot go through everything. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. Okay. Now let's see what we are going to study in classroom management. Okay, so classroom management in Henry Harvin TEFL course, this topic has been covered thoroughly, right? So, uh, I mean, I teach this topic for 2 sessions, that's like 6 hours, and still there is some content left. I ask the students just read it through it on your own. If you have any difficulties, we will discuss that. Okay, so a lot of content, and this content is covered very well, beautifully with the bullet points. Okay, so in the classroom management, so classroom management is all about getting your students to sit in the discipline, okay, and listen to you, learn, follow your instructions, participate in the activities. It's all about that. But what happens, especially with the new teachers, students, they kind of, they are able to kind of smell that, like, this is a new teacher, we know, we can smell it. Okay, and then the classroom management goes for a toss. Okay, no matter how many times the teacher says, okay, be quiet, be quiet. No, they're not going to go quiet. They won't stop gossiping. They won't stop leaving their place, exchanging things, or maybe pulling each other's hair. It's all happening. And with all that, you have to teach them. You have to teach them when they are not paying the attention. That's a huge challenge, right? So in terms of classroom management, there are a lot of things that we can do to take control of this kind of a behavior. Now, these 5 points, I'm just going to explain one of these. Okay, in the portal, there's like quite a lot of information on this. Okay, so maybe about let's say second point, don't talk over students' chatter. Right, so maybe you're teaching and two of your students in the classroom, they're discussing something. It can be, let's say, grade 7 or grade 8 classroom, and they're discussing something, and you catch them like, oh, yes, you too. I've been saying, like, I was wondering who is speaking in my class. Like, I was able to listen you two gossiping. What is it about? Tell me, what is it about? And then teacher, they try to play detective. Okay, what is it about? Oh, Drishyam to Ajay Devgan, 300 crores. Okay. And okay, so he was talking to you about that. And what were you talking to him? Oh, okay. You were not talking, you were only listening. And what about Drishyam 2? Ajay Devgan movie. Okay, I'm very curious to know if Ajay Devgan is going to speak with your parents tomorrow when I'm going to call them here, because you two are not paying attention in the lesson. Is it Ajay Devgan who is going to come and write your exam for you? Is it Ajay Devgan who is going to study for you? Right? So teachers, they play detective, right? Maybe students, they're talking about Ajay Devgan movie, or maybe they're talking about the cricket match, or maybe football. Maybe they are just talking about what are we going to do after the school, whatever. Sometimes it happens that teachers, they try to pull that discussion, try to make them feel responsible for their behavior, right? By maybe these kind of I can say humiliation, right? Maybe I, as a teacher, I don't want you to speak and anyone else also to speak, because there's a lot for me to teach you. So please help me and shut up, right? So that is what the teachers are expecting. But what happens when you bring their chatter? Okay, don't talk over students' chatter. That means whatever they are discussing, if you bring that on the classroom level, now if you had, let's say, 35 students in your class, and initially only 2 of them were thinking about Ajay Devgan Drishyam 2 movie, now it's entire classroom. They're all discussing about Ajay Devgan and Drishyam 2, or they're all actually thinking about it. Okay, initially it was only 2 students who were thinking about that, but now it's your entire classroom that is thinking about that. Maybe then you see maybe students in the other corner, they also, Drishyam 2, has it launched? Like, launch ho gaya movie? 300 crore kaman? I mean, they are all going to wander off. Okay, so it's better, do not bring that topic on the surface. Okay, you tell them, okay, whatever you two are discussing, I can see. If it is really important, step outside the class, complete your discussion, come back. If it is more important than learning English, just tell them that. Do not ask them, what are you discussing? Why is Dhoni going to come and write your exam? Is Virat Kohli going to study for you? Don't ask them all that questions, because then the rest of the classroom also is thinking about that particular topic. which was being taught originally by 2 students, right? So that is it. That is this topic. Don't talk over a student's chatter. Okay. And if it is something really important, they tell, no, teacher, we are discussing about English homework. Okay, what about English homework? Okay, now we will check the homework later. Okay, now be quiet. And then I can teach, right? My students, if there is something important and about the subject, they won't wait for me to ask them. They will just tell me, no, teacher, we were discussing about the English subject. Okay, fine. Later on, we'll discuss that later. Now you sit. As simple as that. But don't ask them. Don't instigate them. What are they discussing about and stuff? Okay. Okay, people, if you want, you can take a screenshot of this. Okay, going on, and we have a couple of more slides. So in the Train the Trainer program, okay, that we have, we follow this very basic structure over here, that is experience, reflect, conceptualize, experiment. Okay? So experiment, that means, at the very start of this course in the Train the Trainer, you will be given a topic to teach. So you experiment, you teach, you train, and then you get the experience, and then you get the reflection. So all the rest of the students in your class, they will share their reflections, their impression, like, oh, I like that, but I did not like that. That example, I don't think it works over here. So you write their feedback, right? And then you can conceptualize. You can say, okay, I need to work on maybe coming up with better stories to explain the concepts, or maybe with better examples, or maybe I think I do not explain things, enough. Maybe I should spend some more time explaining the things. So you can conceptualize, and then you can experiment again. So you experiment, you teach them again, you get the experience. Second time, you get again the feedback from the students, and then you conceptualize again. Right. So that's kind of a learning cycle that we follow in the Train the Trainer program. The next thing is about presentation skills. Now, in terms of the presentation skills, I can say that keeping your presentation short is really important. So this is our TEFL way. In the TEFL way, we teach that you have to keep your presentation short. That means when you're actually explaining some concept, it should not go any more than 10 minutes at max. So although you are there in the classroom for 40 minutes, but the topic or the concept that you teach, it should not be any longer than 10 minutes. So 10 minutes should be your time, your presentation time. Keep it short. And in the rest of the 30-35 minutes, you encourage your students to speak. You encourage them to perform different tasks and learn out of that, right? So your presentation has to be really small, really short, okay? If you're speaking for 20-25 minutes, then eventually your students, especially the young learners, they are going to start wandering around. Okay, they are just physically there. Mentally, they are maybe in the other city or maybe in another country, right? So your presentation has to be short so that they can, short and crisp and to the point. Just explain them how this particular tense works, what is the concept, and that's it. Now we'll practice. Now you make the sentences, right? So your presentation has to be really short. Okay, and the last topic over here that we have is lesson planning. So lesson planning is another important topic, okay, which we will study in this course. So in lesson planning, we have 3 stages: before the class, during the class, and after the class. So before the class, what we do over here, we just try to see what different topics have I covered so far, and how my topic today connects with whatever I have taught them earlier. How can I give them a smooth lead in? You should not give them a cold shower, like throw water on their face, like, oh, wake up. It should not be that. Give them a smooth lead in. That means do not, once you enter class, don't write that topic on the board, like today we are going to study past perfect tense. And then your students like, oh my God, past perfect is so difficult. My elder brother, he cried. I know my elder brother, he cried over past perfect. So they have some experience, they have some impression of it. So don't tell them you're going to discuss past perfect. Give them a smooth lead in, make them arrive to the topic, most likely encourage them to guess what grammar topic is this, write a model sentence, highlight the information, the parts of the sentence, encourage your students to guess what topic is that. Okay, so before the class, you think about all that. How am I going to introduce the topic? How am I going to explain them? What assessment activities I'm going to have them? What worksheets I'm going to give them? All of that. Okay, how much time do I need to spend on this activity? How much time I need to spend on the other activity? No, the time management is also there. So before the class, you think and plan all that. During the class, you have the lesson plan in your hand, and this way you can make sure that you are on the track. Okay, you don't get carried away, right? What happens is sometimes your students, let's say you have a group of students who are maybe in the last 2 months since this new academic year has started. This batch of grade 9 students are not cooperating. They just don't like you, whatever the reason, right? They don't like the English subject, whatever the reason. Okay? But now, very first time you see that my students are, wow, enjoying the activities. Okay, cool. Maybe I should just continue this activity for 5 more minutes. They are enjoying. I'm happy with that. That happens, right? But then we mess up with the flow of our lesson plan. Okay, so having a lesson plan in your hand will help you to see. Okay, that is the time. Okay, so activity for time for this activity is over. So let's go for the next activity. Right. So you can teach them at least 7 or 8 activities. Right. So with the help of lesson plan in your hand, you can keep yourself on track. And after the class, you can just make sure that like when you're going home, maybe you're on the bus, you can just take out the lesson plan and see what has worked, what could have worked better, what could have worked differently. You can just check all that. Okay? And lesson planning, it comes into 8 phases. Okay, so phase number 1 is introduction. So that's where you do the lead into the topic. Maybe you tell them a little of a small story, and then you ask them, or maybe you just write a few sentences, like 3 or 5 sentences story, and then you ask your students what action happened first, what action happened later. Let's say your target to teach is past perfect tense. That's what you're going to teach them. So you write 5 sentences, and it's a very small story with only 5 to 7 sentences. And you ask your students, so what happens here? And now all these sentences are written in simple past, right? In past simple tense. Now your students, they tell you, okay, teacher, that happened first, and then that, and then that. Now you write a sentence in past perfect just below these 5 or 7 sentences. So do you mean this happened first and then that happened? Okay. So maybe, let's say the boy had kicked the ball before the coach asked him. Right. So that can be a part of the story. Maybe in the story it says that the boy kicked the ball, full stop. Without maybe the coach was surprised because the boy did not wait for his instruction, something like that, right? Or maybe coach was coach was about to ask, but boy kicked the ball already, something like that. So 2 actions happening here, and you want to highlight which action happened first and which action happened later. So you can frame the same sentence in past perfect, like the boy had kicked the ball before the coach asked him for it, something like that. So then you see, okay, that's a new sentence structure. Teacher, boy had kicked the ball. Previously, we learned boy kicked the ball. Now it's boy had kicked the boy. Now, so you introduce them with the target sentences, with the target grammar like that, and then you lay down the foundation. You encourage your students. So do you think this sentence is correct? The boy had kicked the ball before the coach asked. Do you think this sentence is correct? Does it change the meaning? No, teacher, the meaning is same. So what is changing here? Had, and what else? 2 past tenses in same sentence, teacher. That's right. So the first one is had plus kicked, and then asked. Okay, asked for it, like before the coach asked for it, right? Something like that. So highlight the area, and then that is the foundation where you are now laying down the structure for the past perfect. And then some brain activation. Encourage them to think about some situations from their life, and maybe they write something that they did on Sunday. right? So they can say, I did this in the morning and that in the afternoon and that in the evening and that in the night. So they have 4 sentences. Now encourage them, try to put that information with past perfect. So brain activation. And then when some of your students have given you some sentences about what they did on Sunday using past perfect, then you write the body of new information on the top of the board. You write past perfect tense and write the construction subject plus had plus past participle plus the past tense, like the second sentence with past tense. Then you write, and then you ask them or give them a clarification how it works, in which cases it works, and you show them a timeline. Okay, so timeline is a it's a graphical representation of the tense. Okay, so something, if you join the course you can learn that more, but then you can just show them the timeline, some more clarification, and then you can give them some exercises for practice and review. So you can ask them some concept checking questions instead of asking them, do you understand? Of course, they all say we understand. Okay, you just instead of asking that, you just ask them some concept checking questions and check their understanding and give them a worksheet. Now in the worksheet they try to solve the sentences, and then give them this worksheet where they are working. It can be an independent practice. So every student is working only with that one worksheet. They're not supposed to speak or interact with anyone else. If you have any difficulties, raise hand. I'm the teacher, I will come to you. No speaking, no peeking. Okay, so that's the rule. So you give them 10 minutes to solve the questions on the worksheet. That is independent practice. And then for the closure, you can give them a group activity where 3 people in one group, they try to write a story, or maybe they try to draw something, and then they come in front of the class, they show their drawing, and they explain what's happening in the drawing using past perfect. Or maybe they write some stories or some dialogue and they play a conversation, right? Or maybe they write a story and then they come in front of the class and read the story in the past perfect, right? So that is going to be the group activity, right? So that's how your lesson plan should be, like in 8 stages, right? I mean, this is what I explained you hardly in 10 minutes, right? But lesson planning is, there is more, like a lot of information over here. And we teach lesson planning for 3 hours, okay, without a break, 3 hours. So you can understand quite a lot more information there. So this is the essence of the lesson plan, that's for sure. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. Okay. And then the next thing is the difference between young and adult learners. So we can say that for adult learners, motivation is there, like for you good people sitting there and you're all listening to me for quite a long time. But for young children, they won't have that motivation to sit in a one place and understand, right? So for young children, you need to come up with lesson plan where there is some entertainment and learning. Both should happen at the same time. But for adult learners, no entertainment required. They can sit and listen to you for 3 hours. Okay, so that is the difference. And then there are these other differences in young learners and adult learners psychology. So autonomy, learning, anxiety, motivation, discipline, life experience. So due to time constraint, I explained you only this part, but you can see the other information is also there. And then there are these comparison points. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. Okay. And the very last slide over here, this is about learning needs versus personal needs. Okay. So students, they have their learning needs. That is, if you're teaching them with passive voice or maybe conditionals, so in that case, students need to know the tenses very well. Or it's only if they know the tenses very well, then they can, then they can learn passive voice or conditionals. So maybe if your students have forgotten the tenses, then their learning need is to give them some revision on tenses, maybe past tenses. So that is their learning need. On the other hand, their personal need is the learning style. Okay, some of the students, they learn better with auditory, some of them better with visual, some of them learn better kinesthetically, right? So you need to address their individual styles of learning, and then they would be able to understand the concept better. Okay, so that is the difference between learning and personal need. So a lot more information like this, that you will study in the course. Now, we are going about, we are going to the last part of this presentation. So what here are the different certification programs? So this is where you are, TEFL, and you can say this is internationally accepted entry level teaching certificate, allows you to teach English to non-native speaking countries, okay? And as an English language trainer, both abroad and as well as in India, you can work with this certification, okay? And then there is another certification, TESL and CELTA. However, I have done only TEFL and I'm going really good with that. Okay? So even the very first certification is also enough. Right now, the next thing is, some opportunities in India. You can work as an IELTS trainer, as as I discussed earlier, and it was in 2021 that it was the highest number of Indian people immigrating outside, right? So every year, quite maybe people in lakhs, some lakhs of people, they leave India or they immigrate, but in 2021 the number was the highest, okay? So you can understand the scope. Like all these people, they need to clear their IELTS exam, except maybe someone who is going on the dependency visa, right? But the other people who are going on students visa, PR, job, maybe a work permit, right? So they have to clear the IELTS exam. So there's a quite a big people, quite a big student group who want to prepare for IELTS every year. So then you can work as an entrepreneur. So as we discussed, you can teach LSRW skills, listening, speaking, reading, writing. You can teach grammar. You can teach vocabulary. You can teach voice and accent, right? So all these areas can be taught. And, especially the students who want to prepare for UPSC exams, right? So they have English as a compulsory subject now, and they have grammatical exam. So there are some students who want to learn only for that specific exam, only for that test. So they would come to learn only English, only the grammar of English language so that they can clear the exam. On the other hand, there are some people who got the job, but now in the job they cannot speak much because they cannot speak in English. So they want to have some spoken English practice, or there are regular school going kids. They want all their LSRW skills to be practiced, right? And then you can sign up for these platforms, okay? We're not endorsing this platform, but Urban Pro is, I think, is going good in India so far. And you just have to pay them a little bit of fees every month, and like the kind of subscription charges, and they will be sending you the links or the contact details of the students from all over India who want to learn something in English. So you list all the skills that you can train, and if if any of the students, they want to learn English language, grammar, voice and accent, or maybe listening, speaking, reading, writing. So, the information will reach you. You can contact that student and work as a freelance teacher. Okay? And then if you want, you can go ahead with the further certification courses. And you can see this information, it is in the biggest box over here, because this is where a lot of job opportunities are there. You can be associated with international school as an English language teacher, or you can work with a kindergarten, okay? Especially this year, 2022, we have got some really good results. I personally know two of the teachers, one of them from Pune, the other one from Mumbai. They got jobs with international schools, like BIBGYOR and IB school, right? So of course, they were able to speak in English very well, and then they did the certification course, and then they got the job. Okay, so the basic thing is that, I mean, if you're going to teach English, so you have to be able to speak English, right? So that is that. So, even that opportunity is there, and working with kindergarten as well. Okay, so some information about Hindi Harvin. So it's an organization that started in 2013, okay? It is based in San Francisco, California. It's a competency development organization, and they are focused on providing learning solutions. Okay? And we are trying to cater the varying industry and academic needs. So, here we are discussing about English language teaching, but here they offer a lot of other courses, like courses in computer language teaching, coding, programming, analyzing, all that. Okay, and then who are we? Okay, so Henry Harvin, they have like so far, they have delivered instructor-led training for a client base of 300 plus, okay, 300,000 plus students. So quite a big number. So instructor-led, that means something that is we are doing right now. You are there and I'm your instructor. I'm leading you to the course, right? On the other hand, the next one is delivered self-paced training to a client base of 200,000 plus. Okay, so self-paced learning, it means the video recordings are available and students, they watch it at, as if like when they want, as they can, at any time or any number of time they want, they can watch that. Okay, so that is self-paced learning where you learn through the recorded sessions. And then Henry Harvin, they are providing 400 plus courses, and they are vendor with 210 corporates. And in India, Henry Harvin has presence with 130 plus colleges pan India. Okay. Now, a bit of information about the program features. So in this PG TEFL program, you will get 300 hours of instructor-led training sessions. Okay, so just like you and me, 1 hour together, you have 300 hours of learning. Okay, so lots of learning there. Good luck. I mean, you're taking 4 courses. That's why the number is quite big. And then you have 52 plus master camp sessions. So what happens over here in the master camp session is it depends on the students. Once you have completed your course, right, you can arrange these masterclass sessions where your instructor will be there, the other students will also be there, and they will try to help you to deepen your understanding of a specific concept, or maybe you can just discuss about what new information you have learned. It can be an interactive session. Okay? So this masterclass session is more oriented for you to keep in touch with what you have learned. Okay? And then you will get membership for Henry Harvin TEFL Academy. Right? So there are benefits of this membership, which I will explain you in a while. And then at the end of every course, you will get engaging assignments and project work. So when you will be completing these assignments and project work, you will have to go through the course content. Only then you will be able to write the assignments. Right? So something really engaging that can take you back to the course. You have to study and write. Okay? So quite interesting fact. And then you can say in terms of the perks of membership, there are some complementary modules, okay, namely modules in soft skills development and resume writing and interview preparation skills, some things like that. So these are going to be some complementary modules in the membership. Okay, upon completion of this course, you will be qualified to teach English. You will have knowledge of other cultures. And then, as I said earlier, there's 100% job guarantee. Okay? So you can contact the person who has invited you for this session, and they will tell you more about the job guarantee. I mean, I'm more of an academic trainer. Okay, so I cannot speak much on that. It comes into administration and management area. And then you will definitely find yourself in boundless opportunities all over the world, and you will be able to enhance your productivity. Okay, so with the kind of tools that you will learn, like the lesson planning tool and the classroom management strategies, etc. With all that, you will be able to boost your productivity. So let's say before this course, if you were teaching maybe 2 paragraphs in one session, or maybe 1 page in one session in terms of reading comprehension. So I assure you, your productivity would be as high as you will be teaching 3 pages in one session. Okay? So your productivity, your effectiveness inside the classroom will increase significantly. Okay, and now I'm going to take the cat out of bag. Okay, that's it. Okay, maybe some of you were just waiting for that. Okay, so that is the original fee. Okay, and that is the fee. Okay, that is the discounted fee. Now, what does it involve? Okay, it involves the training fees. Remember, 300 plus 300 hours of training, right? plus there is 100% job guarantee that you get. The examination fees is also included. The certification fees is also included. And we have lifetime membership in the TEFL Academy. That is also there. And then e-learning LMS portal access. That means, this entire course is going to be online. You do not have to carry a book, or we are not going to send you a lot of books in your home. You can just open the website and learn from different devices, right? And it's a kind of a paperless course. You do not have to carry any paper or pen to study. All the material is available on this LMS portal. And then, as we discussed, we have 52 plus masterclass sessions. And plus this last point is important, unlimited access to multiple trainers. That means, for example, you take a particular course, right, in the PG TEFL program. Let's say the first course, the TEFL course, you enroll for that. And then for any reasons, you cannot really continue the course. Maybe you have to leave the course in the middle. And then, then later on, when you come back, you can join any other trainer's batch. Or maybe you complete the entire course from one trainer, but then you see, you might feel like, okay, let me see how other trainers teach this, because my previous trainer did job well, but maybe I just want to see how other trainers are training this topic or that topic. So if you want, you can enroll for another batch and you can repeat the entire course. Okay? Plus, there are all these recorded sessions are available. So that is the benefit of the membership of the TEFL Academy. All the recordings are made available to you. And if you want, you can learn through the recordings as well. So recordings as old as maybe 2021. Okay, recordings from that time are available, or maybe 2020. I'm not sure, but at least maybe quite a long data. All the recordings are available. So you just need to see, okay, you just choose the date, okay, the batch, and you see, as per the schedule, batch, and then lesson 4 is pronunciation. So you click on that and you see how other trainer has taught pronunciation. So every trainer, they have their own, style of training, and they all, you might benefit by learning from the other trainer as well. Okay, so all of that is included over here. And other than that, something that is not mentioned is that we are offering internship programs to the students. Okay, so every Sunday, like today, after 45 minutes at 5 p.m., we meet all the students who are interested to pursue the internship. We all meet, come together, and discuss. And there is an opportunity for the students to perform in a demo session. And the other students, they share feedback. Okay, in your lesson, maybe that could have worked better, and things like that. So, this course is more of, we can say theory. So for you to understand or get the practical aspect of, in terms of performing, in terms of practicing your teaching skills, for last 6 months, we are conducting these internship sessions. Okay? So that is another benefit that you get. You will be, you will have free access to those internship sessions. So all of that is there. And if you want to follow us, these are the social page links. And that is the information here. If you want, you can contact on this number and some information here. Okay, so maybe I should just keep this page open. Yes, people, now I'm ready to answer your questions. Okay, so Amrita Rai has asked the fee structure, is it only for the TEFL or both TEFL and TESOL? Amrita, I just want to bring to your notice that over here, we are teaching the TEFL course. Okay, we're not teaching the TESOL course, but however, I want to assure you, both the courses are exactly the same. The course syllabus is exactly the same. As I mentioned at the start of the presentation, in India, we have a lot of different universities, and they all offer engineering or management education. Okay, but their goal is the same, to make student an engineer with skills, right? So that they can get a job. right? So that is the thing. So, the TEFL or TESOL, both are going to, orient you or equip you for that goal. Okay? And the certificate that you will get will carry the TEFL name on it. However, I assure you that TEFL or TESOL, both are the same. And in these jobs, wherever the job opportunity is there, the employer mentions like TEFL/TESOL. The candidates must be having certification of TEFL or TESOL. So any of the certificate would work. Okay. Okay, I'm an IT professional, so can I go for this course if I want to pursue teaching career? This is Isha is asking. Yes, Isha. So what I can say is it is up to you. Okay, if you feel that in IT, I mean, first of all, I can just say, think of the reasons why you don't want to continue in the IT, because it's a booming field. But yes, sometimes it happens that we are in a profession that doesn't really suit our nature. Right? I come into teaching. I'm initially student of management, okay, but then I got into teaching because I realized somewhere in my life that I'm more of a people person. I like to speak with people, explain things, interact with them, have fun, converse, right? I'm more of a people person. So if you feel that you are also a people person, if you feel that you're also, like you can sustain a job in which you have to speak at least for 4 hours every day, that's minimum, right? I mean, we definitely speak more than that. Okay. But then, that thing is possible, but you just need to see. Plus, uh, before you step into pursuing the career, before you step into pursuing a career in English language teaching, I just would like to request you, make sure that you speak English up until intermediate level. Okay, that means if you are able to speak English good in India with Indian people, then you can step in. But if you have people saying like uh, if you are not able to communicate with your friends, with your colleagues, then maybe you first on your English language skills and then get into it. Okay, so Mugdha is saying that are there opportunities in India? Of course, Mugdha. Lot of opportunities are there in India. But as this course, the name that it has, teaching English as a foreign language. So my way to explain the concept is more with that. However, in India also, we have lots and lots of opportunities. As I mentioned, like in the middle of the presentation, in this year, two of my students, like in the month of, I believe, October and November, during that year, like during that period, one of them got job in the IB school and the other one got job in the 𝐬𝐵𝐲 International School. And one of my students, he left 𝐬𝐵𝐲 school to go to Argentina. Okay, so a lot of job opportunities are there in India as well, especially in the international schools, in the CBSE school, and English medium schools, right? So now they respect your basic qualification. Maybe you have B.Ed or you have D.Ed, B.Ed, M.Ed, these degrees. But you see, what's happening in the Indian market is education institutes, they are failing to perform as per the standards. It's more like the education market than education sector, right? So the commercialization has happened, and colleges they're running like companies. They want to keep limited number of resources. They want to keep low paid teachers or professors. So students are actually not gaining a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. So people they have the B.Ed certificate, the D.Ed certificate or M.Ed kind of things, but in terms of their skills, they lack the skills, right? So although if you have, let's say, BA in English or MA in English, all of that, congratulations. But still, the schools are asking you to come with a TEFL certification, right? So yes, Mugdha, a lot of job opportunities are there in India. In India, as I explained towards the end of the presentation, you can work as an IELTS trainer. If you want, you can work, like there are different exams in terms of language proficiency. There is IELTS, TOEFL, CELPIP, and then PET, TOEIC, right? So the students who want to go to Australia, they take PET. The students who want to go to the US or the UK, or they take IELTS. The students who want to go to Canada, it's better if they take CELPIP, right? So different exams are there, and you just need to know the exam patterns or what kind of questions are there. And after this course, the TEFL course, you will be able to cater to different needs of these students. Whoever is preparing, wants to prepare for IELTS, you will be able to teach them for that. Okay, so quite good opportunities are there. And look at the number in India. One of my students, he said that I don't want to go outside India. I want to work over here, because he said, look at the number. We have 1.4 billion people here, right? So, and if you roughly understand the proportion, hardly 10% people in India are actually able to speak English quite well. Although English is a compulsory subject, but there is no good attention or no focus on teaching English in terms of communicational ways. Our students, they can read and write, but when it comes to listening and speaking, they fail. There is a huge demand for that as well, where students, they want to work, improve their other skills, right? And besides all that, even if they learn grammar in school, they learn only to pass the exam. So more or less, if you ask any student, let's say you have a student and who asks like, I want to learn grammar, you ask him, have you not studied grammar in your school, in your college, in your English subject? Yes, I did. They have been taught with every grammatical concept. Still, they don't remember, because there was no good teaching, or teaching was done only for the students to score marks in the exam. Now, students, they find it necessary to be able to communicate in English, because they see around them their friends who are able to speak in English, they are employed, right? On the other hand, the people who are not able to speak in English, they are mostly unemployed. Or at least, if the person is able to speak in English, he or she can do something good with his life. Okay, he's not going to stay unemployed, or not going to fall in addiction, alcohol abuse, substance abuse. Not going to happen, right? Because that person knows, I can do something better, right? Because I have a grip, I have a command on this language, right? So a lot of job opportunities are there in India as well. Okay, so Isha is asking, I'm a mother of 1.5-year baby girl, but due to hectic schedule of job, I want to change the stream and always wanted to be a teacher. Wow, Isha, then congrats. If you always wanted to be a teacher, it's good. And if you have a 1.5-year goal, like this baby girl, I think it would work. Initially, you'll struggle. Okay, let me be clear. Initially, you'll struggle. It means that not in terms of time. I can assure you that with this course and the career, you will be able to, pay attention to your girl, your daughter as well. And then, other than that, when you want to get into the market, there might be some struggle initially, maybe for, let's say, 2-3 months, or maybe 4 months at max. Then you will get into job. If you want, you can work as a freelance teacher. Yeah, just like something I do, I train people for IELTS. And if I want, I can work only in the afternoons, which I do with the other company. I work with the other company as an IELTS trainer only in the afternoon, only from 12 to 5. That's it. And that job actually pays me quite enough for me to sustain, like survive happily in Pune. Okay, survive happily in Pune. But then I feel like, what should I do in the morning and evening? So I'm taking another job, right? But if you want, you can just customize your hours. You can say, I want to teach only in the morning. That's it. Or maybe only in the evening when my husband is there to take care of my baby, right? So when someone is there to support you, then you can start working during those hours initially, maybe 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. Then later on, you can add more number of hours, and then you will get more income. But you can work as a freelancer. And surprisingly, I mean, maybe it's because of the shortage in terms of the skilled or experienced people. But in the companies, like a few days ago, I got a call from Accenture in Pune, Hinjewadi, and they wanted me to be in the third round of interview. But I gave up on that. The main thing is that I told them that since pandemic for last almost 3 years, I'm working online as a freelance trainer, and they are ready to accept that experience. So they are not going against that. So that's a good thing, right? Before the pandemic, or maybe situation 5 years ago, if you're working as a freelancer, then the regular companies, they would not consider that experience. But now they are considering it. Right? So you see, that's another benefit, right? Okay, Mugdha is asking translator job. So it depends, Mugdha, which language can you speak? Like in which language can you translate the information? Right? Most of the jobs that come in India, they are on Hindi, like in terms of Hindi language. Most likely these are going to be some investment portfolios. Right? The information that I once translated, that was coming from some Eastern European country where their English is really broken. In the Eastern European part, they don't speak English at all. Right? So someone wrote this brochure and they sent it to me, and I was supposed to create two versions of it. First version was neat, clean English version, right? And the second version of Hindi. So two things. And then the time that they gave me for to do this project was of 3 weeks, right? So as it was my very first project, so I sat day and night and completed that project. I first worked on it, like translated it in proper English, and then translated that in Hindi, right? So that kind of a translator job is there. Other than that, there are going to be jobs, let's say, in terms of product information translation, right? And more of jobs like that. Okay, Pragati, are you there? Okay, so Pragati has asked me, are there job opportunities? Okay, what about Germany? Yes, Pragati, I want to tell you that Germany is also a market where Indian English language teachers are accepted. Okay? And one of my students, okay, she has completed this course, and with her husband, she's planning to move to Germany, maybe sometime in the May or like April or May next year. Right, so job opportunities in Germany are also there. Okay, people. All right. So Sonali, Mugdha, Priyanka, do you have any other questions here? Okay, people. So I hope that I have answered your questions. And in case you want to, later on you want to ask something, you can contact the person who has invited you for this meeting. All right. Okay, Sonali says no question. Fine, Sonali. Thank you for your response. Okay, everything well explained. Okay, thank you. Okay. And Mugdha says, thanks for amazing session. Okay, welcome, Mugdha. Okay. All right, people. So let's sign off then. Okay. And I hope to see you on the other side. Okay. All right, people. So I'm signing off. See, there is a message. All right, people. See you. Bye.